let's bring in CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. And Scott, we know that Pierre Poilievre was asked by both reporters at CTV and CBC at that press conference about his own leadership because of the fact that he has lost 2 MPs in the last 10 days. He clearly was piqued by those questions and targeted both news agencies. We're going to play a little bit of what he had to say when he was asked point blank, look, are you rethinking your style of leadership as a result? I want to get your reaction. Let's play that if we can.
My wife's plan is to continue to lead and be the only leader in the country that's fighting for an affordable Canada.
All right. What do you think? He didn't say he's going to change his leadership style at all.
No. In fact, when he was asked directly, are you going to reflect on your leadership style? Do you think you have lessons to learn? Are there takeaways that you're going to reflect upon? His defiant, explicit answer was no. And possibly there are people out here watching who think they are perfect. It appears that Pierre Poilievre is among them. It's such a disconnected from reality answer. No one is expecting him as leader of the Conservative Party to say, my God, I'm in the midst of a crisis and I'm drowning. But an acknowledgement, a nod toward, look, it's been a difficult week, but here are the reasons that I feel that I'm the right choice for the party and why I think we're on the right track. None of that. And then again, you know, the sort of snide remarks about the media being biased. All of it is a spotlight on his weakness. All of it is the guy who stands in the middle of the town screaming, I have no problems, and everyone is left to think, well, there's a guy who has problems. So I think that this tone, I think this message, and I think this manner all backfires on Pierre Poilievre. Doesn't make him look strong, it makes him look weak. Doesn't make him look like he's in for the long haul. It makes him look like he's in some sort of short-term fight, possibly with reality.
The targeting of CTV and CBC News is interesting. Do you think his leadership is safe? There's a review coming up in January.
I think his leadership is probably safe if he can get through the next 2 months and make his way to that leadership convention, because the rank and file are with him. He has signed up or called for that leadership race. You know, hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of people. And don't forget the context on the back of the pandemic. People who were activated and angered about government, who didn't believe in the voices of public health. And so he has that standing army. But within his caucus and within those who are experienced political observers, you're watching a guy who does not look like he has a firm handle on his own leadership. And the harder he squeezes and the more he blames others, including the media, the more that his grip looks weak.
Okay, let's pivot to the other big story, which is tomorrow, this nation-building project announcement by Mark Carney. He will be in Prince Rupert, British Columbia. We outlined to our viewers some of those big projects that'll be covered in all likelihood here. We're just going to show the map to give people a sense of what we're talking about, including that natural gas project in BC. We don't expect that there will be anything official anyway on a pipeline from Alberta to Tidewater in BC, although we're starting to hear buzz about a possible memorandum of understanding between the provincial government in Alberta and the federal government in Ottawa. Your takeaways?
Yeah, I think it might have been you and I were talking about this just the other day. I suspect that the pipeline issue is going to be on a different track, so to speak, than the major projects announcement for tomorrow. And I think that because it's a more complex political situation, a more complex financing, economic, and business situation, you've got to find a private sector proponent. You have to deal with the tanker ban and British Columbia's aversion to this pipeline. You have to figure out how to bring Alberta and British Columbia's leadership into some kind of symmetry. It looks to me like work is happening on that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement sometime in the next week or two. Tomorrow, however, I think we're going to see, as that map displays so visually, a kaleidoscope of new projects, carefully, thoughtfully selected from around the country. So there's political balance, there's art and science here. So, you know, you might see high-speed rail connecting Quebec City and Toronto. You might see a mine in New Brunswick, another mine, nickel mine in Ontario. Obviously, this is happening in British Columbia at the scene of an LNG plant, and we expect more momentum around LNG. And so I do think you're going to see a lot of emphasis on energy, mining, massive construction projects, massive undertakings, extraction projects.
The Conservatives have criticized the government over this, saying, first of all, some of this stuff is just reheated casserole. These are already announced, or some of these projects were already underway. Secondly of all, it's taking a long time. What's the timeline? When are we going to get shovels in the ground? So there's photo ops, but, you know, you talked about the all ill-fated railway project between Quebec City and Windsor. I mean, they've been talking about that since I was a kid, Scott.
Well, since before you were a kid, and my Lord, look at you, you're only 27. Those are fair questions, and those are the kinds of questions the government will get and should expect that it will get. On the other hand, I suspect you're going to hear Mark Carney say, I've been in government for 6 months. Right? We've just brought in a budget that puts forward $115 billion of tax deductions, largely targeted at industry, trying to spur investment. We're now creating this major projects office. Second suite of announcements, we're telling them we're streamlining the regulatory process. We need people to come forward with private sector dollars, but this isn't going to happen with the snap of a fingers. But I think the Prime Minister is trying to signal we're putting more momentum in this past 6 months than we probably had for the past 6 years. It won't be enough for the opposition. It's not clear it'll be enough for the business community, but I think the Prime Minister is trying to generate his own momentum and sense of purpose.
Scott Reid, our political commentator here at CTV News. One of them. Good to see you, Scott. Thanks for your take.
Thank you.